Recently, I made a video about my top photo and video lenses for my Sony A7 IV. If you haven't watched that yet, you may click this link right here. Yes, obviously it's not just for Sony A7 IV. If you're using any of the Sony full-frame mirrorless camera, that video is helpful for you. Well, hopefully. If you're using an APS-C body, it could be still helpful for you, but it could be expensive as well. But in any case, this video is sort of a continuation of that. If I talked about the 5 photo and video lenses, this time I want to trim it down even further. I want to talk about my top 1 lens. Like if I ever need to sell all my lenses, which one should I keep? Or the more famous question, if I could only have one lens, which one should it be? And that is what we are going to answer in this video. But before that, let's roll the intro. Before anything else, I'd like to officially welcome you to my channel. Thank you for making it past the intro. If you're into cameras, gadgets, technologies, all that good stuff, please do subscribe and hit that bell if you haven't yet. In that case, you won't miss out on anything from this channel. By the way, this video is not sponsored by anyone. This is purely my views and opinions about these lenses. That being said, let's dive right into the topic. Let me start by telling you what are the lenses I actually own. Because if you've been following me on Instagram, you know that I post a lot of lenses and cameras. As a matter of fact, a lot of people ask me if I own all these lenses and cameras. Well, how I wish. So once and for all, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you the lenses I actually bought with my own money. Let's start with the one that I'm using right now, the Sony 20mm f1.8 G lens. This is by far my widest lens. I use this for landscape photography, for establishing shots, and whatnot. And if it's not obvious yet, I use this primarily for my talking head videos. I just love how wide it is, how compact it is, and how great its autofocusing is. Like if I show you the subject, it captures very quickly. It switches from my face to the product. It is that very good of a lens. Anyway, I'm not gonna dig deep down the technicalities of this lens. I actually made a video purely about this lens, so you can watch that after this video. By the way, this is my first ever full frame lens, just so you know. And then my second full frame lens is the Sigma 85mm f1.4 DGDN art lens. If my Sony 20mm is like the A-roll lens, this is my B-roll lens for such a long period of time. Not just that, but this is also my go-to portrait lens. Because you can just imagine, 85mm plus f1.4, you can expect no less with the background separation and that bokeh effect that we all love with this lens. Like whenever I am asked about my recommendation for portraits, this is my automatic answer. Plus the fact that I also mentioned that I'm a believer that every photographer and videographer should have an 85mm in their bag. And I strongly believe that this is it. It is that good. Like for real. And by the way, just so you know, most of my thumbnails, if not all, are shot on this lens. But anyway, same with the Sony 20mm, I made a review about this already, so you can watch that after this video. Now for my third lens, it's the Sony 50mm f1.2 G Master lens. This is like what? The best of both worlds. Like if you would notice, there's a big gap between 20mm and 85mm. Like one super wide and then one super tight. So this lens is just right on the sweet spot. In fact, I can cover both the A-roll and the B-roll with just this lens. It is that amazing. And of course, you can't mention the Sony 50 G Master without mentioning the f1.2. Yes folks, f1.2. It's a beast in low light and it's very capable and reliable in producing that bokeh effect or the creamy blurry background that we all love. Really, this lens is just perfect except for the price. If you want to know more about this lens, I already made a review about it. You can watch that after this video. And then for my fourth lens, it's the Sony 90mm f2.8 Macro G OSS. Believe it or not, this is versatile beyond measure. You might think that this is only for macro photography or videography, but it's not. It's actually a very good portrait lens as well. To be honest, if you're both into macro photography and portrait photography, I would definitely recommend this over the Sigma 85mm. Because it might be slower, yes, f2.8 versus f1.4, but the distance, the minimum focusing distance you can do with this lens is just incredible. However, this is kind of a specialty lens. Like if you're not into macro photography, you would rather go for the Sigma 85mm. But if you're doing product photography, this is almost like a requirement for you. Anyway, I'm not gonna dig deep down the technicalities of this lens. I actually made a video purely about this lens, so you can watch that after this video. And then lastly, for my fifth lens, it's the Sigma 24-70mm f2.8 DGDN art lens. Yes, this is my only zoom lens. And you're right, this is very versatile as well. Not just the versatility, but the performance of this lens is just stellar. And I think I mentioned this before, that this zoom lens performs like a prime lens. And I kid you not, folks, this lens is optically top-notch. Like for both photography and videography, you can't go wrong with the Sigma 24-70mm. If you want to know more about this lens, I already made a review about it. You can watch that after this video. So those are my 5 lenses, which again I bought with my own money. For me and for my use cases, these are just the best of bests. But yeah, obviously I am a prime lens. I just only have one zoom lens, but that's it. Really, prime lens is life. But anyway, going back to the question, if I could only have one lens, which one should it be? You can actually guess. You may comment down below your answer. But yeah, if I could only have one lens, it's going to be definitely, absolutely the Sony 50mm f1.2 G Master lens. Yes, you heard it right. This is my most used lens on my list. Like for both photo and video, this is my go-to lens. I do product photography with this lens. I do portraits, and believe it or not, I use this also for my talking head videos. And it is just amazing. Like I said, for both my A-roll and B-roll, this lens covers it. And especially for my Sony A7 IV, I always tag these two as the perfect combination. And I really meant it. So again, if there would come a time that I would need to sell these lenses, I would really try my best to keep this one. Like just this one. I believe that just with this one, I can do so many things already. Of course, there are limitations, like it's not as wide as the 20mm, obviously. But yeah, if I could only keep one lens, it's really this one. You might think, why not the zoom lens? Yes, the Sigma 24-70mm is the very versatile option among the list. However, this is incredibly, terribly massive and heavy. Like if you want to go low-key, you can't do it with this lens. It's very shouting, it's very large. I don't know. Optically, performance-wise, you can't go wrong with this lens. It's just that it's heavy and it's massive. The 50mm, it's also massive and heavy, but yeah, it's smaller and lighter than the Sigma. So that matters. But that's it, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me ask you the same question. If you could only have one lens, which one should it be? You may comment down below. You can comment your camera body plus the lens that you can't live without. There you go, folks. I am sure I wasn't able to cover everything, so let me know your thoughts in the comment section, or we can connect on Instagram or on Facebook. As I end, if you're getting value from this video, please do like and subscribe for more not super technical but rather practical approach to gadgets and technologies. Until then, thank you for watching. If you want to know more about this lens, If you want to know more about this lens, I already made a video about this. If you want to know more about this lens, I already made a review about it. If you want to know more about this lens, I already made a video about it. If you want to know more about this lens, I already made a review about it. You can watch that after this video.